Welcome everyone to your Q4 Dropshipping Blueprint with 4 of the founding council members of the Dropshipping Council. I'm super excited to have some of the top dropshipping names in the world all on one screen. This kind of collaboration has never been done before, and together we'll be breaking down exactly what you need to be doing to get your dropshipping business ready to rock in Q4 this year. If you don't know what the Dropshipping Council is, it's an exclusive invite-only mastermind community of pre-qualified dropshippers that have hit at least 100K per month in sales. Council members get to network with high-level dropshippers through a dedicated Slack community, discounts with elite partner agencies, and also exclusive masterclasses. So head over to the dropshippingcouncil.com and see if you qualify. Now, let's do a quick round of introductions before we dive into the meat of this discussion. I'm pumped to have with us today Kamil Sattar. He's also known as the Ecom King on YouTube. He's one of the most respected dropshippers in the space. We also have Peter Prue with us, who is a two-time 2 Comma Club Award winner and the founder of e-commerce empire builders. And we have Ricky Hayes, who's the co-founder of Diversifying, which is one of the most popular Shopify themes. And he's also built multiple 6- and 7-figure e-com businesses himself. And my name is Shishir Nigam, and I'm the founder of the Dropshipping Council. And I also run my own e-commerce stores that have exceeded 7 figures in sales alongside of our YouTube channel called Journey to Freedom. You'll find the links to each of our YouTube channels in the video description and also to the Dropshipping Council. So again, I'm super excited to dive into the questions with all of you veterans. I know each of you will be sharing tons of invaluable knowledge that will help our viewers really plan out their Q4 blueprints. Q4, as you all know, is one of the most crucial times for any e-com business, with many stores doing like 60 to 70% of their annual sales in the space of 3 months. And that's why I think it's absolutely crucial to nail down your strategies, your tactics, and planning well in advance. Starting off with the topic of product research. So how do you guys do Q4 specific product research? What kind of niches do you focus on? Any tips and tricks that you can share on product research specific to Q4?
Yeah, so I use a tool called DropPoint, and there's another tool similar to DropPoint. And what I do is I look at the previous years and I change it to 2019, 2018. I change the month to September to December, and I look at the winning ads for that time of the year because they're normally Q4 ads. So that normally gives me very good product selections from previous winners. And you got to understand, normally what won last year for Christmas will pretty much win again for the next year, because Christmas products are pretty much the same. It's gift jewelry, it's kids toys, it's pretty much all the same. So if you can just find an old winning Christmas product and run some new creatives and new ad copies for it, and you've got the right marketing tactics behind it, you can pretty much recreate and scale past the previous success.
So personally, I generally sort of focus on a niche similar to like what Camille said, where I just focus on anything that's obviously for me kid related in terms of toys and just fun games and everything. I just find that those always work very well. I personally try and look for new trending products firstly, and then I'll look back into previous winners in that niche. Nearly any kid related that's been a winner throughout the year, as well as especially through the Q4 periods, I will try and market it because it's just like 50 times easier to sell. So that's generally sort of how I do it.
No, yeah, and like you both said, you know, obviously any of the kids' toys and those kind of winning products from last year, of course, will work. So easy win for anybody getting started. You know, for me at least, I've always been in kind of more of the hobby sort of niches. So any kind of niches that are more adult kind of driven, like fishing, painting, drawing, like those kind of things. And you know, I've always found in the holidays that those still work just as well as they do. You know, throughout the rest of the year. Obviously, you know, adults are still buying gifts for each other. I've always been from the belief that going after kind of like the passion is just solving a problem, creating an offer for that specific group of people, especially during, you know, the holiday season is a little bit easier. Obviously, everyone's in the buying kind of mode. So as long as you put together, you know, a good compelling offer, running ads to it, obviously, you know, it has to be problem solving product of some sort is typically what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, like you got to remember adults buy for each other as well. So like fishing rods is a great product to buy for some people's husbands. So the passionate niche for relationships, couples, partners is really, really good.
Yeah, because even though all the hobbies will be gifting each other, regardless of
And the other thing is, those people are more likely to buy because they're more affluent, so they've got more chance of.
Yeah. Now, I guess
well, we've actually found just across the board, because we launch a lot of these kind of like funnels and very specific hobbies, is hobbies right now that, or any kind of niche that people can do by themselves, like a hobby, whether it's indoor or outdoor, just because with everything that's going on, a lot more people are getting into those niches right now. So, if you're trying to get into something, those I have found really good. You can obviously cross-reference with Google Trends, but those have been pretty good.
Nice. And I guess the point came up, testing old winners versus new trends. Do you guys have like some weighting, or do you focus more on uncovering new products that could go viral this season, or do you focus more on the reliability of the older products that have worked?
Yeah, so I would say I definitely test all, like, it doesn't matter about what time of the year the product was a winner, I'll test it for Q4 for sure. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I'll run a CBO campaign for $200 a day, and I'll run it for 3 days, and depending on the results will let me know if I should carry it on or not.
I go with, personally, I prefer to go a bit more with unsaturated products for me, because I know if I can get first to the playing field, then I'll take biggest market share. So I try and focus on those more. But if I see an item that there's just those items you always see every Q4 period will always sell exceptionally well, I always try them. It's just a matter of the amount of competition that becomes the problem there. So I like to try at least a 50-50 split, where I try and find some unsaturated ones, because those ones, if you can find them, like, and you're one of the first, you can scale them pretty damn high, I find, from my experience.
I'm in agreement with the guys there for sure. I mean, if you've had stuff that's worked for you in the past, obviously, don't fix something that's broken. But I always still recommend, adding some flair to whatever it is that you're selling. Don't just try and sell just that product, because you're going to obviously have competition in there as well. Especially during Q4, you're going to have advertising costs that go a little bit higher, and a lot of people are focusing on getting new customers, when a lot of people don't focus on actually optimizing what they have already, right? Like, using your list for especially Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like hitting your list during that point. That's free money. Either way you spin it, you paid for somebody to visit your site, whether they bought or not, or opt into your landing pages, and for you to not follow up with them, via email, obviously retargeting as well. There's so much money on the table there.
Yeah, that's great. Some point that Pete brought up was just surviving increasing CPMs during Q4, right? So that's a major, obviously, issue compared to other parts of the year. What are your tactics that you guys employed to survive that period of increased CPMs, and how do you justify that on the back end? What kind of strategies do you use for that?
I very much focus on the back end, sort of like what Peter was saying, and that too, like the email list. One thing that people seem to forget, from my experience a lot, is how valuable an email lead is. And I'm sure Peter's mentor, Russell Brunson, would say a similar thing, where like the email list is to me, it's actually just liquid gold. So for me, these leads just make huge amounts of money. Email marketing is massive. It'll always be massive. So during Q4, CPMs will go up, competition will go up. But I know if I'm still capturing leads and I can do email marketing, I even do SMS cold campaigns, although those don't work as well. I very much focus on not just utilizing just paid traffic, also looking at all the channels where I've collected user data to try and really justify that, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You do build up hype campaigns, and then you just do campaigns every day. People just buy like crazy. And that's why I very much focus on building these lists. That's actually my main focus, because the lists make me a lot more money than the cold traffic campaigns on Facebook, Google, or whatever. But I also very much tailor a lot of my cold traffic campaigns to the types of events we're in. Don't just make, you have your product and you're marketing it, all of a sudden you can give it a theme. So let's say it's a Black Friday theme, sell the product with a Black Friday theme, and it gets people more excited because they know that event's coming up, and you can offer exclusive discounts. And that's what sort of Peter was saying earlier with your offer, and, exclusive landing pages and stuff to really, change the way you're marketing. Because the thing is, if you want to stand out in a crowd now, it's really more about how you present yourself as opposed to the product itself, because 10 people are marketing it. Whoever does it in theory the best generally will get the best results. That's probably how I'm going to look at
So
it.
this is my feel on increasing a CPM. So with increasing the CPMs, there's nothing you can do about it in Q4. It's just going to happen. Now, I find reducing ad costs to be the hardest thing to focus on. The easiest thing to do to avoid that is to make sure that your AOV is at least 2.5 times the worth of the product. So I focus more on making sure that my AOV is between 2.5 and 3 times worth of the product. So let's say the product I'm selling for is $20. I'm going to make sure that my AOV is $60. That way it will get rid of the CPM increases, the cost per result increases, and then that way I'm still very much profitable. And I find every year that just works the best.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You know, there's like the frame of mind where a lot of people in the e-commerce space, they're like, oh, how do I keep lowering my cost of purchase? How do I lower my cost of purchase? When if you just flip the script and just accept the fact that, you know, obviously you could do certain things with your ads, of course, to lower your cost per purchases. But for the most part, you know, what if you could, you know, withstand a higher cost per purchase? What if you set up your business in a way where, you know, if you only can spend $20 to acquire a customer, right, to break even? What if you could spend 100, right? What if you could spend $100 and still be profitable in your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why, again, average order value is really important. You know, another aspect that's really important to have is like a subscription, you know, some sort of thing that people can join and get reoccurringly billed on. That helps a lot, right? One person can join and stay on with you for, you know, 6 months, a year. And then once you factor that into, you know, whatever your calculation is and whatever you're willing to spend to a customer. But that's an easy thing a lot of people can add. You know, if you're doing like, you know, I have a supplement business, it's easy. I can just, you know, do pay every month, get a cheaper bottle, right? You could do info product members areas, like if you're selling fitness stuff, right? Information products will help your margin tremendously. You could do like a subscription box, right? I had a huge fishing subscription box a few years back that had like 2,500 monthly subscribers. You just have to think about it, right? You know, there's going to be problems that people have that they want solved every single month, whether it's, you know, getting fishing lures every month or, you know, meal prep guides or whatever it might be. But having some sort of subscription aspect really does help your business as well.
Yeah, touching on that, what I was going to say, you can reduce your ad costs, you can do things, but that's where ad consistency I find happens. When you just focus on reducing that ad cost, that's when people have that inconsistency of profit, because one day it's good, one day it's not. But if your AOV is just good throughout, you won't have that much ad consistency on profitability. Also, what I'd say is what Peter was saying is you want to be selling a product where people have to keep coming back to you to top it up. So whether it be like filters, where people need to buy more filters for a product or something like that, just an example, and then put them on a subscription service for that would be probably the best.
I definitely agree with that. Like I try and look, I personally love data, so I look at Google Analytics quite a lot. I love to look at lifetime value, as I said. So like, because I look at leads and returning customers and that, rather than just looking at front end costs. Once you have that data, you look at more lifetime value. And, you know, like what Peter was saying and Camille, with subscriptions, for instance, you know, you might spend $50 to acquire that customer, but over 6 months, they might be worth $500 to you. So, you know, you could say, all right, well, I could spend $200, for instance, to acquire a customer. It very much changes your perspective and means that you can beat your competitors because you have much larger margins. And when you're in a space that's very competitive, if you have the largest margin, generally you actually become the winner in that space because you just can't lose.
Yeah, I'm glad Ricky said that about CLV, customer lifetime value, because a lot of people get worried about the cost per result the first time round, but if you're getting them to buy from you 3 times over, if you do the math.
I think that's a great tip there. Like the point about focusing on products which are in a way refillable, you know, in many different ways. Like refillable, maybe it's I don't know, buying a shoe and then selling insoles. Or having any kind of refillable product that is used frequently enough. And that's a great way to bump that AOV up front when the first customer is coming to you. So great tips there. Now, similarly, on the topic of AOV, do you guys, what if somebody's wanting to obviously implement these kind of offers, right? Do you focus more on post-purchase, upsells, pre-purchase bundling? Where do you, in your testing, what has worked better?
So my answer, oh, God, man.
Sorry, no, Peter, go ahead.
So, for me, it's been pretty simple. I've personally, and again, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it doesn't work for other people. I'm not one of those, again, I've never really seen good success with pre-purchase upsells unless it's like an order bump or something like that on a page right where they check out, they just check a button and they can buy it. Obviously always have something like that increase your average order value tremendously. I've always found success in post-purchase sequences. Obviously, one click purchase. I've never, I come from the frame of mind of just mainly using, funnels. If you have a Shopify store, you can, obviously manage the orders from there. But, I have at least found cart pages. That's why a lot of people see a lot of traffic, a lot of add to carts, but no sales, because there's a lot of buyer's remorse that happens before they've kind of trusted you, right? Where that first sale is always the hardest, right? The first sale is always going to be the hardest in any business. Every subsequent sale, every subsequent yes is a lot easier to get, right? And that's why I love using funnels personally with the post-purchase upsells, just because once you get that first yes, obviously you can sell them a wide range of things, complementary products, more of what they just bought, information products. You can do one-click subscription as well. So that's at least a short answer to that from me.
I agree with Peter. Like, unless the item 100% complements the original item you're selling them, and it's, for me, it has to be 100% complements it, and it has to be significantly cheaper than the main item. Most people won't take it up. I definitely try and take the approach of it's more important to get a lot of customers through the door and then upsell them after the fact than trying to increase your front end average order value, because the most important part is to get the customer, and then like what Peter was saying, then you upsell them like the same item at a massive discount or a complementary item at a discount, and you keep pushing them, because I try and do at least 2 upsells where they buy this, they buy another, and I try and aim for about 10 to 20%. I find is sort of that magic line for me. So I definitely agree with your point there, Peter.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. I think the main takeaway from what Pete just said was that a customer will trust you the most immediately after they've made the first purchase, right? So that's the best time to upsell them anything that you want to upsell, essentially, because they've trusted you enough to click buy and give you their credit card information or PayPal. Completely agree there.
My touch on this, guys, from my point of view is, because I'm big in the tech and electronic niche, that's where I've made most of my success from. The upsell that works really good for me every year round, and this is kind of giving away now my most secret blueprint for success, is I'll sell electronic product. For example, the vacuum cleaner to clean your pores. And when you go to buy it, as soon as you go to add it to your cart, it'll pop up and say, do you want the upgraded latest version of the product, like the 3.0 version? So it's like a product upgrade when you add it to the cart, and I find that works every year like crazy.
Now let's go to ad strategies, Facebook ads during Q4. What are your sort of go-to? Let's say you're in the position where yes, you found the product that's working, it's giving you a good response, your tests have come out with a good, strong, positive ROAS. Now, what's your go-to scaling strategy? And you're in the midst of, October right now. What is your go-to scaling strategy to scale that product?
My go-to any time of year, especially during Q4, is manual bidding, especially on Facebook, it's just such a crowded marketplace. I'll be honest, like I basically test a lot of interests and lookalikes like anyone. And my sole goal is to find the winners, and then I'll put them into a manual bid. Find when you should go to a manual bid. For me, I find cost cap works best. That's when I can just go from, let's say, $100 budget to I could go to $1,000 to $2,000 a day budget, because it just seems that's more designed for it, because it sort of puts you in, I guess, a bit of a blue ocean as opposed to just the auto bid red ocean. And so that's personally what I do, is I generally keep a lot of my CBO, a lot of my campaigns lower. I have a lot of them. And then once I find my good interest, then I have, 5, 6 CBOs that are spending $500, $1,000 each, and I churn and burn. That's very much how I focus on my cold traffic to really start scaling that up personally.
That's pretty neat.
Just touching on that now, I kind of laugh when Ricky mentioned manual bidding, because back in 2018, I remember when I first did manual bidding, oh my God, I lost so much money because I didn't know what the hell I was doing with manual bidding. It was like horrible for me. And then in 2019, figured it out. And as Ricky said, I do manual bidding the exact same way as him, but I do CBOs between 1,000 and 5,000 a day. It can get quite aggressive. And I literally just increased the profits. I mean, I increased the budgets by 30%, 50%, pretty much every 3 days, depending on the profitability. And I just scale up like that. There's no better way than manual bidding if you want to be aggressive and you want to block the competition out the way.
Yeah, and just to add about what the guy said here, you know, one of the strategies that we found works very well with Facebook is just overdoing it with variation. You know, we have fortunate enough to have, full-time media buyers here. And, what we have found is just the more variation, especially during this time, the better. What I recommend and what we do is at least four pieces of creative per every single ad set that we have, be it an image or a video, and just testing it from there. We've seen hit or miss results with obviously CBO and then ad set budget still, but yeah, as much variation as you could typically give, we have seen that works tremendously well.
Do you do dynamic creatives?
We don't do dynamic creatives because most of our stuff is going directly to a funnel. So it's not as you can't really do it. You can't really use dynamic creatives as easily.
Yep.
Yeah, I think personally what I like to do if I'm in the stage where something is tested positively, and my immediate next step is to really multiply the types of creative that I'm using. You should get new videos made, get new images made, get new thumbnails made, and just multiply the options that Facebook has to put the ad out there. And what worked very well for me last year was super broad audiences, no interest, broad targeting, all automatic in my case. Everything is automatic, placement's automatic, and I think the caveat here is you got to have enough purchases on your pixel to get there. But once you have enough purchases, 500 or maybe 1,000 purchases, then you can really go super broad and just target the US 25 plus and just let it run. And those are some of the highest ROAS campaigns in my Q4 last year.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you said that because last year, that is exactly the strategy I was using. I was doing the top 5 countries per ad set in a CBO campaign, and once the pixel I use the same pixel every year for my Q4 store because it's just been seasoned over the last few years. And I just run no interest targeting for each country in the top 5 between 21 and 65, and it just absolutely just crushes the ROAS. I don't know what it does. Facebook's machine learning recently.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to hit on one point that you mentioned is like just a lot of people, at least people that might just be getting into it, is just to understand, especially with Facebook, like it gets easier as you have more buyers, right? Focus on the strategy, not necessarily always just the tactics of it. Right? Give Facebook what it wants. It's like any kind of platform out there, right? You come from the place of what do those platforms actually want, right? And at least from Facebook side, I mean, if it really comes down to, they only care about 3 things. They care about having a good user experience, right? Without a good user experience, people aren't going to use the platform, right? Facebook obviously cares about making money, and then they actually care about you making money, right? Otherwise, you don't reinvest that money back into the platform. And for you to really get to that point where you are going to see much more profitable ads is especially during Q4. I think if you're just getting started with a fresh pixel in Q4, it's going to be a little bit tougher because again, the Facebook algorithm, it just thrives environment where you just have a lot of buyers. And obviously once you get into the lookalike audiences and custom audiences from there, it's a lot easier.
Pete, you mentioned that you already have folks who are running ads on different platforms, right? So that's another point. How much do you guys go into advertising on Pinterest, let's say, or advertising on Snapchat while still scaling on Facebook? What's your proportionate spend?
I haven't done Snap, and if you guys know this stuff, or if you guys know like Snapchat ads and stuff, obviously chime in. I've only tried Snapchat ads, once, and it was 2-3 years ago. Again, I don't want to say it doesn't work for me. That it won't work for anybody. 100% it does work for other people. Obviously people are advertising out there. It's just, the niches that I'm involved in, those customers aren't as heavily using. We mainly are focusing on obviously Facebook ads, YouTube, Google search and display, Taboola, Outbrain. Those are kind of like native ad placements that you'll see on like Wall Street Journal and places like that. Those are the ones that we've really found the most success in. getting into the TikTok advertising. But again, that's like very niche to me. It's like, why wouldn't I put more budget here instead of focusing on like TikTok, for example, where it's like you're gonna have much younger people. So if you have a niche that's geared more towards younger people, obviously go towards Snapchat, TikTok, right? But just at least in my niche, I haven't found like good success in Snapchat.
From my perspective, it pretty much what Peter was saying is like it's more niche specific as to where you sort of market. Like Facebook and Google for me, and YouTube basically, are three platforms basically where any niche nearly will work. Like once you start getting into Snapchat, let's say Pinterest, like Pinterest is a very female dominated platform. Just for instance, I think it's like 80-90% women. So let's say you're trying to market an item that's clearly towards men. Let's say it's for motorbikes or something. Yeah, probably you wouldn't be able to have much scalability. So like it's more understanding the nature of the platform as well. I personally never used Taboola and stuff. I'm actually quite curious to use them honestly for my. So that's sort of where I look at it. Like, obviously we all want to try and be on as many platforms as possible. Once you get to a point when you're scaling your business, it all to me just becomes traffic. Like, where can I get the cheapest quality traffic that then I can just retarget the heck out of? As long as it's qualified traffic, that's sort of how I more look at it. And that niche for my product or my niche actually makes sense. But I think it's all fair to say that we would all pretty much use Facebook, Google, YouTube. Those are pretty much, and personally for me, Bing. I mean, that's not an absolute priority, but like Bing, because all of them work across nearly any niche. So those are the sort of top four I use personally.
Yeah, so my take on the marketing platforms for Q4 is, this is my personal opinion, this is my experience from the past. I find that Snapchat never really had any success with personally. I know people have, but I haven't. I go very, very, very aggressive on Twitter influencers and Instagram influencers, especially during September and November. I really go aggressive with those two. I have done a bit of Google ads, and my business partner does a lot of Google ads, and he does some very good numbers. I've never really had any great success with Google. I've done it, spent a decent amount of money, but not had too much success with it. And that's the thing, because I'm not very good at it compared to some of the guys here like Ricky and Nick. But I've had some great success with YouTube ads. Those were very, very good, very cheap cost per results on that last year. And then to finish off, I would always say, I don't know what it is, but when it comes to scaling, nothing quite comes as good as Facebook, in my opinion. I don't know what it is, but when I use Facebook, I'm never able to get the same scalability out of anything else.
Yeah, it's simply because the way Facebook is, you can like increase your budget like 5-fold overnight. It's ridiculous. I wanted to ask you, sorry, Camille, do you use YouTube influencers?
Yeah, dude, I use YouTube influencers all the time. And it's funny you said that. Last year I used quite a lot. Again, I'm heavy invested in the tech industry. That's one of my stores that have made me the most money in this whole e-commerce space. And as you know, on YouTube, tech YouTubers are everywhere. It's one of the biggest industries. And with those guys that do unboxing videos, like hauls and stuff, it's just crazy. Like they do, like you send them product and they'll do the best gift under $25 for Christmas. And those videos will do insane numbers.
I've been trying the strategy where I've seen a lot of larger companies do it. Let's say like Honey or something, where they work on exclusive deals where it's like a lifetime deal with a YouTube influencer, where in every video they'll sponsor it. I find that works really, really well because it builds a lot of trust with their audience. And that's why I was just curious about like how YouTube.
Yeah, we call it a 360 contract. We call it, where it doesn't matter what they do on that platform, they have to somehow involve you in it.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. I think that's a side that people don't often discuss or are aware of. I guess in terms of consistency, so when you're using influencers, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, wherever, how do you build consistency into that or predictability into that? Like, do you message enough influencers such that it becomes consistent?
I've come to a conclusion now that it's about working with 3 to 5, especially when you're starting off doing it, working with 3 to 5 big accounts. They've got to have at least half a million followers with at least a 6% engagement rate. And as soon as you work with those, and as long as they're not always promoting, as long as they've not got lots of contracts with other companies, then you tend to find that you should be okay. As long as they're not posting other companies every week, a different company every week, you should be okay.
I wanted to chime in here too, real quick. We like our Instagram influencers is pretty much our main traffic source for our supplement, and our supplement's pretty pricey. It's about $80, and we've had some insane results just using influencers, even just like those theme pages. And one way that you can really, because you don't want to overdo it on one page, but what you can actually do is just see like how we track this like religiously, how many followers they're getting every single day, and then you can kind of put together a marketing calendar across the board. So hey, if you're having this person shout you out twice a month, the next month, right, they've probably already grown like 50,000 new people, right? And you can kind of put your marketing calendar together for these specific influencers. That way you're not always blasting the same exact audience, even though a lot of these people follow multiple pages. But the more times they see you, there's no harm in that, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think the influencer space drastically underutilized, especially YouTube. Get one review of your product can pay you. Maybe you won't be making everyday sales from that, but people, when they search your product, they're going to want to see reviews of it, and they're usually going to Google, YouTube. Either way, the YouTube video is probably going to still pop up on Google. It's an easy traffic source to do out there. Send them some free products. Sometimes they'll work with you with just if you send them some free goodies. Even if you have to pay a couple $100 for a review video, it's worth it in my opinion.
Just touching on that quickly, how you get consistent results with the YouTube influencers, and this is what we did last year, and it did some stupid numbers, is you need to make sure that they make a video that is search SEO heavy, meaning you want them to make a video title like the best gift, the best tech gift for Christmas 2020, because the search results for that and the search volume is insane. And if you're working with a big influencer that will rank in the top 5 for that video and in the suggested feeds, that video will pay you pretty much till the end of Q4, because that video will keep getting hit for Q4.
I do a lot of YouTube influencers, but one of the types of influencers that I do that I actually find works really well is blog influencers. So I very much love blogs. I know, funnily enough, a lot of people don't really appreciate, in my opinion, the importance of a blog. But a blog is just as powerful as YouTube, in my opinion. It's obviously dependent on somewhat niches as well, but I actually do a lot of outreach to various other bloggers, and same as like YouTube. Once you have the blog in place, it's pretty much like, and as long as it's SEO optimized, and I have my team very much SEO optimize it to work with the blogging business, then it's just reoccurring income. So not just during Q4, but obviously throughout the whole year. So like I very much love blogs for influencers as well, like blog influencing is I guess what I call it. And I find that works very, very well, because it's basically like a sales page. You can make it like a sales page, soft sales page to a dedicated audience, where this person has built a very dedicated audience. And I find that works very well for me as well.
I guess just touching that quickly, just one little quick thing. Saying that as well, we've done something as well where in Q4 especially, you're going to get lots of big companies doing top 10 Christmas gifts for the beauty and so. And every product that's in that blog has just been paid to be put on there. They're not organically chosen. So if you get paid to be put on one of those big blogs, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And there's influencers everywhere. You just have to honestly, we've even had really good success in Facebook groups, and a lot of people don't think of those, but you'd reach out to the moderators, work out whatever deal you can have. But that's also a really good spot to find some influencers.
Yeah, my only follow-up point there was, if you want to do this at scale, are you guys using some sort of an influencer agency who has all the connections, or you have individual team members on your team who do that for you?
It's much cheaper to have your own team members. Much cheaper, and it's you have a lot more control. Like, don't get me wrong, agencies obviously, like anything, have their specialities and they're very good. But I prefer to do it in-house. There's more than enough people with the skill set. It's just not, you can go on Upwork or a ton of these sites and find people that can do the data mining. I use a tool called BuzzStream, where, it sort of helps to handle the outreach and in terms of the automation. And then we have people that manually handle the actual conversation style until we get to the actual deal part of it.
That's great.
I was going to say, I personally have a team in place that do everything for me in terms of the outreach to get put on these places.
That's great, guys. Thanks for the tips. So moving on to the next topic here, which is email marketing strategy. So in Q4, obviously it's a given, email marketing is a crucial part of Q4 tactics. Ideally, you have your email sequences set up beforehand so that once the time comes around, you're all set. But do you sort of actively also run email lead gen campaigns that are purely for the purpose of adding emails to your list?
I'll start on this one. So I've ran the same exact email campaign pretty much for 5+ years now on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Pretty much the way it looks like is, teaser email the day before Black Friday, on Black Friday, 4 emails. The thing is, you can overdo it, but like typically you can't overdo it because everybody's getting bombarded that day. So you need to stand out in that inbox because you're essentially competing against, all of the other people bombarding their email inbox. So typically 4 emails that specific day. And then I have an extension the following. The next day is, I believe, the day before whatever Cyber Monday is. That's a no email day, and then having another 3 email promotion on the Cyber Monday itself. As far as lead gen campaigns, like during it, so I use funnels for all of our products. So before they can even buy from me, they have to give me an email address. So they wouldn't necessarily go right into a Black Friday sequence or something that where those people maybe sat on my list, they consumed content, or they bought something. So those people have like, the promotion is more like, hey, because you're a subscriber on our list, here's a special Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotion that we put together. But typically I'm always trying to get emails, but those people are like put through like an indoctrination sequence.
Yeah, so I run quite a clever email campaign, lead gen campaign, where all my current email list, I'll do a massive like store credit giveaway where it'll be between $500 and $1,000. So I'll email my whole list saying, look, if you want the chance to have a $500 credit to spend on my store, then all you need to do is get 3 people to go to the landing page, which is going to be a landing page where those 3 people sign up for the same email list with the same email that they've just received about the $500 credit. And then as soon as they sign up and it's been verified, then they get entered into the giveaway. And then I'll send another email out a week later, or it depends how many come through, then the same email.
Fantastic. You just multiplied your email list 3 times. No, one thing I did last year, which worked quite well, was I picked this up from Ezra. I ran a paid ads campaign to drive people into a pre-sale list. So, running active ads, not to a product page, but to a pre-sale promotion saying, hey, if you guys want to receive discounts in advance of Black Friday, then sign up for this list. So it's like a purely email lead gen campaign, and that you have a very, very warm list that is waiting for your email to come a few days before Black Friday. So you kind of beat the rush of Black Friday. You preempt them, and then you're sending it to a very, very warm list as well. So I thought that worked out pretty well for us. That's great.
And just one other point is just to it's not about just sending the email. Just for anybody watching, it's like you have to have like a good offer in there, right? Like what's the actual strategy? Because the sending of an email is a tactic, right? Anybody can do it. But like what's your actual strategy behind it? Like what's the offer? At the end of the day, you can build stores, funnels, whatever, but those things are, again, just tools, right? The things that you put inside them, the offers, right? That's the thing that matters. You can have the ugliest website ever, but if your offer is just insane, typically, of course you want to look at a good looking site, but like typically people will buy from you based on like the actual offer that you have. So it's important to have something, enticing. I know people you'll probably make sales anyway, but you still want to have something unique, enticing for them to actually buy from you, right? Scarcity, urgency, those are still the most important pieces of all this. If you don't have scarcity and urgency in your emails, especially during like an email launch campaign, I would rethink your strategy and make sure those things are in there.
Now, on the same line of thought, in terms of non-paid traffic avenues, messenger marketing, text marketing, web push marketing, how much do you guys focus on that? Are you driving campaigns specifically to increase marketing lists for, let's say, messenger marketing or text marketing?
Yeah, 100%. Like every time my email list gets bigger, I'm always sending out an email to try and convert them into text message marketing. This is my personal opinion. I find SMS works so much better for upsells and CLV.
Yeah, I agree with Camille there. And to add on that, yeah, like I try and get people into all these platforms as much as possible. I'm very big on Messenger. I find for cold traffic, like sort of campaigns don't work that well, and SMS. I find for push, SMS, and Messenger, they're extremely good for abandonment recovery.
Yeah.
Extremely good. So I'll use all three because I love them. And I'll, over time, as I build my especially email list, is I'll incentivize people that if you join my Messenger list, we'll give you something in return. And obviously, just something, it could be something as simple as like a fact sheet or something that can help them in any part of their life where it's, nothing to lose, everything to gain type approach. And I build up those lists so that then I still do try cold campaigns. They don't work as well, but again, it's a free marketing channel pretty much, most of these. So I always try and monetize them as much as possible. So I love it, like especially SMS for abandonment recovery is it's just astonishing how that works, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
It's all about creating assets, right? As many assets as a business has, it's more valuable. Email, SMS. SMS is something we definitely slept on for a while, but our big focus has always been like email. We obviously ManyChat. It's become a little bit more restrictive, ManyChat, over the past year, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. That's why I've never put that much effort into it as opposed to an email, right? To me, an email is really the one thing I can put on a USB stick and just like walk out with. That's why I still, even though people think it's dead, whatever, it's still one of the main sources. And obviously SMS is up there as well.
That's great, guys. Now, I guess another very important thing to be prepared for as you go up to Q4 is all of your back end, right? We've talked all about the front end, driving sales, scaling, all of that. And if all of that works, one huge component is making sure that your customers are still happy at the end of the day. So what kind of things are you really focusing on as you head into Q4? Like I'm talking about, stock inventory, shipping times, customer service, all those areas. How do you plan ahead for that?
Yeah, so what I'd say about Q4 logistics is you need to make sure that even before, like we're just about to hit Q4, so you've got to have products in mind already, and you need to make sure you're contacting your suppliers to make sure that their stock levels are fine. Also, you need to make sure that all your agents are up to date with the plans. You need to make sure that even if you're not using a fulfillment center yet because you don't need to, you need to make sure that you're speaking to them, letting them know that there's a high chance that you'll be working with them around this certain time so they can prepare best for you. And you just need to make sure that you're organizing your contacts that you've been using over the years just to let them know that this is what you'll be doing. Because during Q4, it's really whoever comes first gets what they want, Every supplier is going to run out of some form of stock, and it's just who goes there first and organizes it. So that's how I go against my logistics personally.
Yeah, I agree with Camille. I personally plan my whole year for Black Friday, Cyber Monday is how I look at it. Because the sale volume is just insane. And so to me, I always say to people, the hardest part with e-commerce is not, in my opinion, getting the sales, getting the leads, and it's the logistics and customer service that comes with it. And especially around this time of year, and I would say this on a personal basis, purely this year as well, with the pandemic that's going on, it is extremely important that you think way ahead. I know a lot of people can't, but, I try and buy tons of stock and get it into warehouses is always my approach. But if you don't have a winning item, I understand and respect that. Regardless, like what Camille said, contact your suppliers on AliExpress, agents and that, and be proactive, especially because Q4, it gets you the most sales, but you don't want to piss someone off and them not to get their Christmas gift for their family. There is nothing worse you will get.
Emails that I've got, some of the emails that I've got, you've ruined my son's Christmas.
Yeah. To be fair, if you had a child as well, like you'd be pissed. And so, so I very much it's my biggest worry. I actually very much recommend people to have a cutoff date in terms of selling, because especially with drop shipping, you're looking at 2, 3, 4 weeks. I know December is a fantastic time, but unless you have very fast shipping, seriously, I recommend to everyone accommodate that in, because I guarantee you straight after like Christmas and Boxing Day, charge back, refund, charge back, a bad review. You don't want that.
Yeah. And it's like, just to add what the guy said, it's just, build a team now, even though you probably don't think you need it, you most likely will. Start building better systems and processes, you know, obviously have like good templates out for all email responses, because you're going to get a lot of that. You know, we had someone in our community that, you know, COVID, it was one of the best things that happened to her business, right? I mean, she went from overnight, you know, only doing a couple $1,000 a month to like 300,000, because she sells a lot of groceries. So people were freaking out, like, where do I get groceries? And like, she was one of the only places that still had it, and no systems, no processes, nothing in place. And it's just been an uphill battle trying to, you know, scramble, because still to this day, it's like, obviously they're good problems to have, but it's like, you're going to be stressed out. So, you know, start putting in system processes. You know, if you're just getting, you know, or if you're somebody already, you know, selling, you know, I probably, you know, would recommend not working with any kind of like new suppliers, you know, really focus on the existing contacts that you have. And obviously optimize the things that you already have working for you.
That's great. Now, I guess bringing it back up a level. So if an e-com store owner is sort of currently sitting, you know, in their business, they're thinking about Q4. So where do this start? Like, given, you know, let's say they are in the midst of testing products, let's say, what other priorities do they focus on? How should they go about all the different things we talked about? What do you focus on first and next? It's a very broad question.
Who wants to take it? I'll go first. I'll go first, guys. So as far as somebody brand new coming in with product research,
I think so. So if somebody who let's say who has not yet found a winner, you know, where do you focus?
So I've always taken this approach, and this is just me, is like, instead of focusing on like what's the winning product, what's the winning, you know, whatever, right? Like, focus on like, well, what's like a problem that you could solve in a specific group niche, right? It doesn't have to be like some crazy problem that you solve, like, you know, by any means, but, you know, if you come from that place, you can put together, you know, actual solutions, right? So it could be something stupid, right? It could be like, hey, you know, you want to sell fishing stuff because you like fishing, that's a passion you have. Right. Well, instead of just selling a fishing lure, right? Like, what else can you bundle in with there to make your fishing lure more enticing, right? Maybe you're drop shipping from AliExpress. You can't really customize the product. That's okay. You could still differentiate yourself different ways, right? Give like, you know, cheat sheets, you know, PDF guides, right? Like ways to use that fishing lure, right? Because at the end of the day, if you understand the niche and what they actually want to do, like, for example, like fishermen, they want to catch fish, right? They want to go out there and have a good time, right? If you understand that, you can craft like better offers and differentiate yourself. Like I always ask the question, like, why would somebody buy this over going to Amazon and buying it? Right? Because people, you know, at the end of the day, that's what people are doing. They probably see your product and then they go to Amazon, they're like, oh, I'll just buy it from here. It's so you have to have these kind of differentiating factors in place. So it's like, more to me, like, if you look at some of the biggest companies out there, right, they don't necessarily have product research departments. They have like these massive market reach departments, right? They're always looking what's happening in this, what's happening in this sphere, what's the competition doing, right? And then they go, okay, well, what's the products that these people want, and then they sell to them, right?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I entirely agree there. I very much prefer, like, because I see a lot of strategies about testing a lot of products, and the more products you test, the less time you're going to invest in them collectively each. And I personally find your success rate will drop. I prefer to very much hone in on an audience, like, because any niche will work. You know, it's just a matter of how much you know about, and as what Peter said, really about your offer. You know, if 10 people are selling the same thing, but you, let's say, know some specific jargon that something's only you, if you really know that niche, would know, then people are going to resonate with you 10 times more. So like, it's more about researching the market than it is just like, here's 10 different products, market. Because they'll work. It's just a matter of time, consistency, and as you keep saying as well, like your offer. So I very much agree with that approach.
Yeah, so I would agree with the two gents as well. Definitely offer something that not other platforms are offering. Like I've said in one of my videos before, offer a free ebook, whether it be learning how to use this kitchen utensil, how to learn how to cook, something like that always goes the extra mile. Also make it very clear on your website what you offer as a brand that Amazon can't do for you, or eBay can't do for you. Don't literally say Amazon can't do this, but make it very clear that what your brand offers as an aftercare that other platforms won't. And like Ricky said, you need to really do your research, because in your ad copies and your ad videos, you need to make it very clear on specific things that not the majority would know about. So when somebody looks at your ad, they're like, wow, this person really knows his stuff about what we're going through or what we need. So that's the only way you're going to beat everybody else.
I don't really worry about Amazon and eBay all that much either. There's always going to be people that are going to go there. I don't really care. So I don't really care about those.
Yeah, for those people that are like eBay and Amazon going to ruin everything, like that's all search with intent marketing. Like people that go on there have intent to buy anyway. So it's one of those things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great, guys. Now, final question. What are you guys doing differently in terms of your planning this year in Q4 compared to Q4 last year? Like, I guess
logistics.
Exactly, but I guess a way to make this more concrete, what was one hiccup or oversight last year that you want to work on this year as a tip for everybody?
Logistics.
I was literally going to say the only thing I can think of is my logistics last year could have been so much better. Like, I feel like I underthought how it could, like when you're doing 7 figures in literally a month, it like Ricky and you guys can agree with me, when you do 7 figures in just one single month, you don't realize how much comes with it. And if you don't get it sorted out properly, it honestly, chargebacks, refunds can go through the roof.
Getting the sale is the easy part.
Yeah, honestly, in Q4, getting the sale is the easy part. It's making sure that the aftermath, because when people are ordering things for Q4, I feel like they're more impatient because they're like, oh, Christmas. So it just puts even more weight on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously logistics always, I mean, as much as you plan for it, you're always going to have some sort of issues that come up with it. One thing, I always recommend is just have some sort of goal in place that once you hit, you don't overextend yourself. A lot of people, especially let's say it's your first, Q4, you're all excited, you're making sales, and you said, hey, I'm not going to take sales after this day because I want my products to get to my customer in time. Mm-hmm. And most people won't stick to that. They'll just be like, oh, the money's too good. Let me just plow through this and deal with it later. So stick to your goals that you have set out for yourself. Stick to like the actual rules that you put out as well. So again, the thing that's going to kill most people is chargebacks. Right? Like if you're using Stripe or
I love what Peter just said then, and I think that's important for people to map a goal out and plan around it in terms of do the numbers. Like if you want to do 100K, then do the numbers. How many customers do I need? What's the average order time that it's going to take to get to people's houses? Because in that way you can plan around it. And I feel like people in Q4 just want to do anything they can. So definitely agree with that.
That's fantastic, guys. Thanks so much. I think this has been absolutely fantastic. Very, very good discussion. Again, thanks to each of you for pouring your hearts out, sharing these phenomenal Q4 tips. If you guys, our viewers, if you've gotten value from this video, make sure to smash that like button. Again,
you know what I was about to say to you, dude? If we get enough comments and likes, like let's say if we get 1,000 likes on this video and some decent amount of comments, we'll do another one. So I really enjoyed it today.
Yeah, it was a great conversation, guys.
For sure. Thanks, guys. So till then, to all of you guys, all the best for Q4, and we'll see you then.
Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Take care. Bye.